Walks throughout Seattle can expand the mind and charm the soul. Mass transit always makes massive news. Well, what if the masses transported themselves more often by foot? That's a question implicitly raised by David B. Williams' newly expanded second edition of Seattle Walks, Discovering History and Nature in the City, University of Washington Press. Filled with colorful maps and photos, tips, trivia, and bygone context, the 304-page pocket guide, revised since its original printing in 2017, reaches all corners of the city. The sequel allowed Williams to rethink my interaction with the landscape, while providing updates and additional walks in 3 neighborhoods that he identifies as humming with historical diversity. Number 1, the Central District, with deep roots in the Black, Jewish, Asian, and Catholic communities. Number 2, South Lake Union, with an archival mix of nationalities and industries. And 3, Georgetown, with working-class ambiance based on the Rainier Brewery that once dominated the district, paired with what Williams calls a dark vibe, stemming from an infamous legacy of drinking, gambling, and prostitution. Viewing any neighborhood from a pedestrian's eyes, of course, can reveal striking alterations. Even if you've gone someplace over and over again, you always find something new, says the author, best known for Too High and Too Steep, 2015, about Seattle's transformative regrades. The city is always changing, he says, whether it's a different weather or different people or different plant life or different animals you might encounter, or different building uses. For instance, Georgetown, a city from 1904 until its 1910 annexation to Seattle, erected a stately second city hall in 1909. Its classic clock tower presides in both our then and now photos. The steeple was pruned by a storm and kept that way to avoid low-flying aircraft. Today, the landmark serves as a neighbor care health dental clinic for low-income and uninsured people. Throughout Seattle, Williams has charted routes meant to expand the mind and charm the soul, not to mention bolster the body. They range from 1.3 to 7 miles, flat where possible, and mostly on pavement, enabling explorations via wheelchair. Along each path, Williams repeatedly finds validation for his long-held love of walking. It puts you at that slow level that allows you to pay attention to what's around you, he says. It also allows you to stop and actually look at things. We never stop in our cars or when we're biking. It lets you interact with people and with the place that's around you. You never know who you're going to meet. For me, it's really the best way to get to know a city or neighborhood. We all can probably agree to toe that line. In our first then photo, from David B. Williams' new book, the Georgetown District's slightly flatiron-shaped City Hall at 13th and Stanley Avenues South, its steeple intact, is shown in 1910, the year the city annexed to Seattle. In our second then photo, on Williams' South Lake Union Walk is the C.B. Van Voorst building at 426 Terry Avenue North, but actually along Boren Avenue, shown circa 1920 to 25. The brick structure was built in 1909 for the club's stables, with a 250-horse capacity. Later, it was a furniture outlet, transfer and storage company, and mattress factory. In our next then photo, on the north side of the 1700 block of Yesler Way, are New York Restaurant, Lewis Hoffman Kosher Grocery, and City Furniture in 1919. Williams's Central District Walk passes this point. In our final then photo, Williams' South Lake Union Walk passes the 600 block of Westlake Avenue North, the site of William O. McKay's terracotta automotive showrooms. Today, as a pedestrian walks toward the old Georgetown City Hall, Williams stands at the busy intersection of 13th and Stanley Avenues South and South Bailey Street. Williams will speak about his new Seattle Walks, Discovering History and Nature in the City, February 19th at Elliott Bay Book Company. For more information, visit geologywriter.com. Also today, cars replace horses at the Van Voorst building facade, fronting on Boren, which stands today in the middle of Amazonia, with an elaborate plaza on its back west side. Also today, the 1700 block of Yesler Way hosts True Hope Village, a tiny house community of the Low Income Housing Institute. Also today, with the McKay facade 70 feet north as part of the Allen Institute, a pedestrian crosses Westlake Avenue at Mercer Street. And finally, the cover of Williams' new book.
Yeah, it's funny. I'll probably join you. I don't think I've ever been in the building itself. So you'll have to make up something in your column about 1:30 being a very important time.
Well, you know, the Ben photo, I think it was taken at about 10 minutes after 11.
Oh.